As promised, guys, I am back. If you watched my video on Sticky Goose, thank you very much. This job, if you want to call it a job, isn't the easiest thing in the world. In fact, comic books itself, right now has been a hell of a ride, a very shaky, rocky road. But I'm used to adversity. I'm used to struggling. I am used to fighting, and I am also a guy who doesn't give up. So I'm going to continue Nyobi in any shape, way, form that I can, as long as I'm financially able to do so. And even when I'm not financially able to do so, it will always be in the back of my mind to come back brighter, better, and bigger than ever when I am able to do so. We'll see how things sort of play out. Here's more news from thebeat.com, celebrating their 20th anniversary, by the way. More publishers announced change after Diamond bankruptcy news. So let's see what's going on. Let's see what publishers. Now, we've talked about Antarctic Press ad nauseum here, but let's see who else is making statements. So let's go ahead and read. More small publishers are announcing changes and speaking out about the difficulties they are facing due to Diamond Comics owing them money. And that's a big thing, right? Not even so much the bankruptcy. It's, hey, you owe us money and we can't send you books. We're not going to send you books for free. Canada's Black Panel Press has launched a crowdfunder to help them get through this rough patch. I didn't even know about Black Panel Press. I'll have to look into them. Coffin Comics is going D2C, DTC. So that means direct to consumer. That just basically means, hey, we got our website. We're launching our own crowdfunding. You want the book, come to us. Antarctic Press is putting a hold on all their titles that are not company owned. Correct. Because Antarctic Press is also going DTC, direct to consumer, via crowdfunding and via their own website. Given more details on this, David Harbour's Sketched has a comprehensive report based on the many conversations with retailers and publishers on the state of things. You'll need to be a subscriber to read it for a measly $5 a month. And I won't try to summarize it here, aside from the belief, which I will share, and this is all coming from the article, not me, that this won't kill the direct market. But by Harper's count, there are 91 publishers who are solely carried by Diamond. Now, that was a number I was wondering about, and I'm glad it's confirmed, because I was thinking, yeah, it's probably about 100 small press publishers out there, that are with Diamond. 91. That's actually a pretty close guess, man. So 91 publishers are facing the axe, basically right now. It goes on to say, the other side is that Diamond doesn't survive. Many of its exclusive publishers might not be picked up by Penguin Random House or Lunar, if only because there are a lot of them. Based on my count, Diamond currently carries 91 publishers that are neither Penguin Random House nor Lunar that handled as well. Out of those 91, 40 sell new single issue comics. The other distributors will likely pick up some of them, but all 91, there's no chance, both because of the material and sales potential. Case in point, Antarctic Press, and of course we're going to be used, and by we, I don't mean like I'm actually a part of it anymore, I'm not, but I'm so used to saying we when talking about Antarctic Press because I had such a strong tie with Ben and the company for a while. That's just sort of in my blood, and eventually I'll get out of that. But Antarctic Press, who is one of those single-issue publishers exclusive to Diamond, revealed that its efforts to connect with Penguin Random House and Lunar have generated zero traction. And I don't know who's making these calls. Maybe give me the phone number and let me talk to them. Not that I may be able to produce anything differently as far as results go, but I would like to have a crack at that, at least on AP's behalf. Because I'm not... My problem with Antarctic, and I don't have many, but I find their marketing sucks, right? That they could do so much more to get their name out there, and they just don't do it. Well, you don't have a sales rep like myself to help you out. It might be a problem, because I am willing to make these calls and these emails and make the overtures and all this sort of stuff. I would even do it for free for the company if it meant continuing our survival in comic book shops. But they would have to have faith in me to do that. And I don't think that they do. But the thing is I don't have faith in them to get the job done because they haven't been able to get it done. The truth is in the pudding, as one would say. And that's not, to put them down. They made their efforts, but, they're older gentlemen. You need someone with a little bit, a younger, with some step in their step. You know what I mean? A little bit of pep in the step. That's what I would say. And that's me. I got a lot of pep in my step. Case in point, Antarctic's one of those, blah, blah, blah. Cannot connect, zero traction. And they go on to say, I'm sure they're not alone. I'm sure of that too. And if a publisher is owed significant money and doesn't have distribution, that's going to be a problem. Yes, it is. This is what I said. And this goes back to people like life isn't wrestling. No, it most certainly is. When we go back and we look at the Monday Night Wars, right? If you're old enough, you remember WCW, Monday Night Nitro versus WWE's Monday Night Raw, back then the WWF. And for almost 3 years, WCW was beating Monday Night Raw in the ratings. It was dismal too. It was a beatdown of epic proportions. But eventually WCW started to lose to WWE with Stone Cold, Mike Tyson, The Rock, just WWE really changing up their product to appeal to a 18 to 34-year-old male demographic. And it worked very, very well. It worked so well that WCW was put out of business. WCW, Ted Turner had decided to sell, AOL Time Turner at that point, decided to sell the company. Eric Bischoff was going to buy it. You know why he didn't buy it? Because he thought if he bought it, Turner would still broadcast it on their television stations. Well, they decided not to do that. So without television distribution, without being able to be seen on television, Eric Bischoff said owning WCW would be worth about $20. So I get these contracts and I get the rings and the gear, but without the television time, it's worthless. Well, it's the same thing with being a small press publisher. If they can't get you to a wider distribution than what you can provide for yourselves, if they can't get you in the comic book shops any longer, then they're worth about $20. I hate to be that way, but it's true, right? The only reason to go with a publisher outside of publishing by yourself is because they're able to offer you something that you can't bring to the table. In my case, they were able to offer me diamond distribution. Took them up on it. Unfortunately, now we don't have that. So they go on to say, talk about publishers being no money and it's a problem. They go on to say, yes, it is. And even a bigger problem is the ticking clock. Diamond has until April 1st to find a buyer, or it could shut down entirely, as reported by the Baltimore Banner based on court filings. So this is real news here, right? Diamond Comic Distributors bankruptcy filed last week could mean layoffs and the closure of its Hunt Valley headquarters if it does not find a buyer by April 1st. So that's 2 months, guys. They got 2 months. No, not even 2 months. They got a month because we're heading into February now. 2 months. All of February, all of March. So 2 months to figure this shit out. If its sales efforts don't succeed, Diamond would cease operations, close its main office, and lay off as many as 168 employees, the company said this week in a federally mandated notification to the Maryland Department of Labor. Shit's getting real, okay? This is, real shit here. Now, this isn't speculation. This is Diamond telling Maryland, the labor board, we're going to lay off 168 people. They may have 2 months, man, to figure this shit out. Diamond Distributors is actively, they say, attempting to find a secure buyer for its business operations other than its Alliance division. And the Alliance division, by the way, if you guys don't know, that's where the real money is made. That's where all the tabletop gaming and shit like that happens. Diamond told Hunt Valley employees in its federally mandated notice, according to a Diamond spokesperson, although we're hopeful to locate a buyer, if our efforts are unsuccessful, Diamond will unfortunately have to cease operations. While we continue to pursue a buyer, the Diamond business will continue as usual. So it's going to operate for another month or two. Maybe. According to another filing obtained by The Beat, Diamond has retained Raymond James as their investment banker regarding a potential transaction. The letter of agreement is dated September 30th, 2024. So the writing's been on the wall for a while and validates our previous suspicions that Diamonds was looking to get acquired. Meanwhile, small publishers are beginning to take action. So we'll just pause it there before we look at these small publishers. I was talking with a gentleman on a different stream And I don't want to bring his name up because I don't want him to be bothered by anyone. Because he told me that there may be some optimism in this yet, that that there was a buyer who is a comic book personality. I don't know if he's in comics or just talks about comics, but apparently he's a man that once the name is given, and the name was not given to me, so don't even bother asking me. I don't know. I mean, one can only speculate, but a powerful person in comic books with a lot of sway and influence in comic books was looking at potentially becoming a buyer of Diamond, and that we will know if that goes down within the next few days. I was told it'd be sometime shortly after February 1st. If this deal goes down, we should start to hear things about it. But my suspicion is a deal is probably not going to be made. 2 months are going to go by with further delays, further damaged comics, employees not giving a shit, getting laid off, and this just all going belly up. Because even if someone was to come in and buy it, what are they going to do to save it? Because Diamond's been gutted, right? Diamond doesn't have the publishers. They don't have Marvel. They don't have DC. They don't have Image. You know, you're looking at other companies, you know, moving away. You know, IDW and Dark Horse, as far as I know now, are probably going to move away from. Well, I mean, they are going to move away from Diamond. They'll probably be big enough to secure, you know, Penguin, Random House, or Lunar. So will Dynamite. The problem with Lunar though is they only deliver to the States, so that does shit fuck all for comic book fans outside of the US of A. They don't deliver to Canada, as I understand it. So they go on to say, meanwhile, small publishers are beginning to take action. So let's see who's taking action and what's going on. Black Panel Press. Now, apparently these guys are in Canada. I've never heard of them, but let's see what they say. Black Panel Press publishes indie-centric books of the kind you might find at SPX, such as The Amazing Camel Toe, a French graphic novel by Claire Dunlin. Publisher Andrew Bottineau writes that Diamond owes him about $28,000. And while they hope to get a new distributor, they are looking to the community in the meantime. After the best year in Black Panel Press's history, over 5,000 books sold and receiving a prestigious JLG Gold Selection for Shadows of the Ice, our distributor, Diamond Comics, has filed for bankruptcy, owing us over $28,000 altogether. We need that money to pay our authors royalties and to print our upcoming releases, plus everything else that is running this business. We have a plan set forth we have a plan to set things back on course, but we need help. So we started a GoFundMe campaign to raise donations to get us through the next few months. If you're a business and you have to do a GoFundMe to stay alive, you might as well shut down, because now you're just asking people to throw away their hard-earned money to keep a business alive just so you can sell them more product. That's really not selling. Over 5,000 books sold. Nyobi Origins did 3,000 on its own. I was like looking at this for a second thinking, oh, Black Panel Press. Maybe I should talk to them because they're Canadian. But if your whole line can only do 5,000, you're not worth going to. Let's just put it that way. I could do better on my own. After that period, either the situation with Diamond will stabilize or we'll have to find new distribution elsewhere. Well, the question is, who is going to be that new distributor? That's what everyone wants to know. The company has been in labor of love for 7 years. We publish books by creators from all over the world, many of whom have told me how no other publisher was interested in their books. Comics are important. We need more of them, not less. If you can share this, great. Even better if you can donate. Your help means a lot. You might as well close down. Let's see. Coffin Comics. That's Brian Polito. Let's see what he's going to say. I kind of already know what he's going to say here, but I'll read it anyway. Coffin Comic Publishers of Brian Polito's Lady Death and related titles has announced they are pulling all orders from Diamond. They'll be going direct to consumer and selling wholesale. There it is. Following Diamond Comics Distribution's recent Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing, Coffin Comics is adapting to ensure fans and retailers that can still enjoy our titles without interruption. Effective immediately, Coffin Comics will no longer fulfill purchase orders for Lady Gunfighter through Diamond. Instead, we are excited to launch a direct-to-consumer and wholesale solution to make Lady Death Gunfighter books previously purchased at local comic book shops accessible to our loyal supporters and retail partners. Fans who have previously placed an order for Lady Death Gunfighter here with their local comic shop and wish to secure their books can now choose between two options. First, encourage your local comic shop to set up a wholesale account with Coffin Comics. And you see, this is going to be the hard part, right? And we'll get into this in a second. Comic shops can set up a wholesale account directly with Coffin Comics, allowing them to receive their orders in time for the anticipated in-store date of February 19th. To qualify, retailers must be placed by February 6th with shipping to begin on February 10th. So you got a fucking week to get on this. But they're now asking to say, hey, if you want our books, you have to come to us directly. You have to set up an account, which means every company, small press company, is going to attempt to do this. And if there are 91 companies that are small press publishers in Diamond, and all 91 decide they're going to set up their own ordering system for retailers, guess what? About 20 of you might get some sales and the rest of you won't. Because retailers are not going to set up 91 fucking accounts. They're just not going to do it. Especially for comic books that don't really sell. 5,000 books out of your whole entire line for, what was that? Well, who are these guys called again? Back panel something? Black panel press? Yeah, you're not even a dot in the microcosm of space. You know what I mean? Brian Polito will actually get people to sign up. But even then, because of the nature of his books, the hot women, the scantily clad, the nudity, a lot of comic book shops won't even carry that. The second option is to order Lady Gunfighter Desolation #1 directly through Coffin Comics, as we will ship your order directly to your door, which is how they're going to prefer to do it anyway. Because, of course, comic book shops got to get their cut, right? Well, guess what? You avoid the comic book shop, and those customers are going to come directly to your site. Battle one. As a courtesy, Coffin Comics is offering free shipping on wholesale orders to ease this transition. Coffin Comics is fiercely dedicated to our loyal fans and local comic book shops and wants to do everything we can to support them through this process. For further information or assistance in setting up a wholesale account, visit our information page. I wish Nyobi could do that. The problem is I can't offer wholesale prices. I don't even get my comic books for wholesale prices, through the printer, right? So there's not much to do about that. Antarctic Press has been more blunt about what this means for them. Yeah, we've had some really frank talks lately. I've had talks with Ben Dunn. I had a correspondence with Joe Ming. I know what's going on. The company has been around forever in small press terms since 1985. Think about that. That is 40 years. With published comics, well-known titles such as Warrior Nun, Ariella, Ninja High School, Gold Digger, Robotech, Nyobi I'm going to throw in there just because, why not? According to a long Facebook post by publisher owner Joe Ming Dung, they saw the writing on the wall from Diamond for a while and tried unsuccessfully to get into Lunar or Penguin Random House to carry their books. Now, we've already read this all, so I'm not going to read this case, this letter again. Go back to my video to see what Joe Ming said, but basically what he said is Antarctic Press is going to crowdfunding and direct-to-consumer, and they're no longer going to publish creator-owned IPs because they don't own the IPs and won't make any money off them. So Nyobi, who is 3 issues in a 5-issue miniseries, has been cut off the cord, and if you are someone who bought our books at the comic book shop, you're no longer going to be able to do so. You'll be able to find the back issues that we've done, but that's it. If you want part 4 and 5 of the miniseries Outbreak that we introduced into the direct distribution model, you're going to have to come to me directly on Kickstarter. That is it. I'm going back to basics myself, right? So big long letter from Joe Ming Dunn. Not going to read that. We've read that before. Ben Dunn had another long, lengthy line. He talks about Ninja High School, Tamargo, Penguina. Well, actually, I want to read this one because I'm not sure if I actually read this one. However, a more recent post by Ben Dunn, the founder and one of the chief creators at Antarctica, says they're taking steps to shut down creator-owned anthology titles while AAP-owned books will continue. He says, I wish I had better news report, but apparently based on a recent news article at the BaltimoreBanner.com, blah, 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 unless Diamond can find a buyer by April 1st, it will cease operations. This is true. Therefore, AP has made the hard choice to put a freeze on all anthology and creator-owned titles as of February 1st. This will affect any comics not already solicited. Those are solicited may come out depending on the Diamond situation, as AP will continue to ship comics to them that are already in the pipeline, as in comics already printed and are already in the shipping process. It's a heavy, it is with a heavy heart to write this, as AP has the best creators, but the reality is that we cannot sustain our current business model due to unforeseen circumstances, which is true. I mean, what do you want them to do? Rest assured that any royalty payments owed will be paid in a timely fashion. They don't owe me any money, at least not that I know of, so that's good. The only exception to this freeze rule is that any projects that are controlled by AP. So what he's saying is, if we own the property, we'll continue to pump them out. And he's going to give some examples of what those are. This includes projects that involve Ninja High School, which has been done, Tomorrow Girl, which has been done, Penguina, which has been done, Tiger X, which has been done, Heaven Sent, no idea, Silver Cross, no idea, Mighty Tiny, been done, and I know they're keeping Gold Digger with Fred Perry. If you want to present projects concerning these properties, please contact me at, and there was an email there, I don't know why they didn't put the email in there. We have plans to assure the continued existence of AP with a major announcement after San Diego Comic-Con. I know things are in a major flux right now. If things change, I'll certainly let everyone know. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me. I'll try and answer them as best as I can. Thanks to our readers and fans. As we go through this trying time, your support means the world to us. So, comics like Nyobi, Critter, I'm assuming Common America, Regs, Punchline, Patriotica from the Mount Olympus crew, all those titles no longer available in comic book shops. That is a fucking crying shame. Anthology titles that gave comic book creators like me a shot in the first place. Exciting Comics, Planet Comics, Horror Comics, Manga Z, all that sort of stuff that relied on submissions, those are gone too. All right? And what they will crowdfund mainly is going to be Ninja High School and Gold Digger. You know, that's just the way it is. After we heard about the major announcements at San Diego Comic-Con before, so make that what you will. As for retailers, comic book shops and whatnot, Nostalgia Inc., a 35-year-old comic book shop in Jackson, Mississippi, point out some other aspects of Diamond shipping issues. They carry so many titles that were returnable. They say, in the past, Dynamite, DSTLRY, and a few other publishers have had the generous returnability programs with early issues for their series. If you see large piles of Red Sonja or Vampirilla on our shelves, this is why. While Diamond is saying these programs should continue with no interruption, that would end suddenly if Diamond closed and retailers were left holding the bag. I have discontinued ordering practices effective this month. Comics by Dynamite, DSTLEY, was that Distillery or something? I don't know how to say that. American Mythology, Massive, and some other small publishers are likely to be subscription or special order only until if Diamond comes out of this. I've already moved on all possible orders away from them to other sources. So basically what's being said here is, are you buying these fucking books that aren't Marvel, DC, or Image, you know, something that you had to get through Diamond or they have to get through elsewhere, you're kind of fucked. You're kind of fucked. So we heard from American Mythology, Massive, Coffin, Antarctic, and Black Press, Boom, and Mad Cave had all made their announcements. Who are some of the other 91 publishers? Well, there is Dynamite, Titan, Archie, and there's some others like Ablaze Studios. They're going to be fucked. Zenoscope, Alien, Valiant, Living the Line, and many more. Diamond has yet to file a complete list of creditors, but that is going to be a hard read. If we get the list of creditors, I will broadcast it here. We'll go over it. In closing, I want to stress one thing. I've been conducting my own interviews for a future overview of the Diamond situation, and there's not one person I spoke to who doesn't want Diamond to pull through this. Of course, we all want Diamond to pull through this, especially if you're a small press creator like myself. You want to have a home on the shelf, you know, for whatever that means now, right? You know, I talked about this in the past, like being on the shelf was the place to be. But, you know, maybe it isn't anymore. Maybe it isn't. Maybe my dream is too archaic now. That's all right. I've always said, I will be the last man on the ship. I will go down with the ship. If the ship is sinking, I'll go down with it. That's fine. This gives me absolutely no joy to report on this at all. The people who work for Diamond care a lot about comics in the community, no matter what else you may think, but we got a few rough months ahead of us at the very least. Well, you got 2 months ahead of you, and chances are, the odds are, I never want to say, anything with a definite authority, but the odds are it is a sinking ship. And it saddens me to no end that we cannot get Nyobi to, the few thousand people who may be interested that still do shop at a comic book shop for their comics and nowhere else, that you're not going to be able to finish the story unless if you come to me directly, right? I'll leave news on how to do that. Don't worry. But we're going to go on Kickstarter. We're going to push locally a lot harder. I'm going to push conventions a lot harder. I plan to make more, more public appearances with the table set up, with books to sell. And my personal plan, by the way, is here. Let me switch screens for a second. Let's get up and close and personal. My personal plan here is to finish Nyobi Outbreak 4, which is what I'm currently working on now. Okay, we're 9 pages in. We're only waiting on one cover. We're looking at launching this campaign in 2 weeks from today. Right now, at the recording of this video, it is January 30th. I am looking at a launch on February 14th. We'll see if we can make that launch. If we don't make that exact date, we'll be close to it. But my assumption is we can make that date. And I hope that we do. With that being said, we're going to finish Outbreak 4, and provided that it does well, and by well, I mean 20,000 Canadian or more, we will then continue immediately to make Nyobi Outbreak 5 and get those books out back to back as fast as we can. If Outbreak 5 does well, meaning 20 grand or more on Kickstarter, Canadian, we will then make Savage Sin number 3. Okay. And hopefully that ties up pretty much my commitments as far as ongoing storylines go. There is Nyobi Penguina that we need to make a second part to, but I'll be pretty honest with you with that. While I have every intention to deliver that second part, it's the last thing on my priority list. The only reason why is because it didn't really sell that well. It is going to be an extra expense for me, and I have to focus on getting Outbreak done and Savage Sin done. And why? Because after we get 4 and 5 done for Nyobi and Savage Sin 3 done, we're going to put both of those stories as a whole collective into 2 trade paperbacks. There'll be the Savage Sin trade paperback. There'll be the Nyobi Outbreak trade paperback. And depending on how well those do on Kickstarter, will dictate my future in comics. It's quite possible that Nyobi could end with Outbreak and Savage Sin ends with number 3, concluding that miniseries. Or it's quite possible that if we do really well on Kickstarter, that we can continue this. But much like the comic book shops that are facing this news, much like the small publishers who are facing this news, creators like myself are also, kind of left holding the bag and going, well, what does this mean? It means Kickstarter is going to get a lot more crowded. Everyone's going to come to crowdfunding. It means competition is going to get a lot more harsh. Drama is going to be at an all-time high because now you're going to have even more creators fighting for that spotlight, fighting for that attention, fighting for that piece of the pie. It's going to be very competitive. I plan to get very competitive because I have no choice, right? If I want to survive this, and I want to keep pushing, and I do. My goal is still to get back into the direct market somehow, and I don't know how I'm going to do that yet. I also have to find a new printer because we are getting, as of tomorrow, or as of February 1st, 2 days from now, 25% tariffs to Canada, which means when I order from Comics Wellspring, and they're in the States, and I get my lovely $600 to $800 customs bill that I do with every order, that is now going to have an extra 25% onto it. Well, guess what? If that happens, I can't order from Comics Wellspring anymore, which means I have to find a Canadian printer and work out a deal with them to make it affordable for me to do that. So that's the quest I'm on right now. I'm probably going to go with Mixam because they have a Canadian office. I'm going to give them a call. I'm going to have a conversation with them next week. Not going to bother with it tomorrow, but I'll probably do it Monday or Tuesday. Give them a call, go over the situation, Because I want to know how they handle variants. They say if you want to do variants for your comic, you have to contact them. Well, I'm going to contact them because we do like anywhere from 6 to 12 variants per issue. And if they all come with an extra cost, then that sort of defeats going with Mix'em, because Comics Wellspring does not give you an extra cost for variants. So, I mean, bottom line is I have to find the best deal, but still continue the quality that we've been providing as far as the physical print product is concerned, without being more expensive than what it would be with Comics Wellspring. It has to be less expensive. I like to get these books $1 cheaper in the end, without duties and custom fees, through Mix'em than I can with Comics Wellspring. And that is going to be a talk I'm going to have with them. And if they don't want us, if they can't give us a good deal, then we'll continue to shop around. I'll deal with Comics Wellspring for the time being until I do find that other printer. But I don't know. I mean, maybe Nyobi Outbreak 4 will still be printed by Wellspring, provided that these tariffs don't hit us. But they are going to hit us, so why even take the chance? I'll just start shopping around now. If I have to do one last comic through them and pay the extra 25%, if I don't find an option, I will, just to get it out, but I won't do that a second time, right? For Outbreak 5, I won't do that. For Outbreak 4, I'll do that just because I've already sunk so much money into it that we might as well get the job done. Outbreak 5 has to come with a Canadian publisher, or these tariffs have to go away. It's got to be one of the two. Or we just stop, right? I think this is going to be a time when a lot of comic book creators are going to decide, especially in Canada, if they're going to decide to keep going. Because we already pay extra on everything because our dollar is worth pennies to the US dollar. And then you're going to add on an extra 25% on top of that. You're going to kill us, right? You're going to kill us here in Canada. You're going to force us Canadians to deal with only Canadians, right? As far as printing and supplies and all that sort of stuff. I'll still sell to the US. That's not a problem. It's you guys in the US that will have to pay the taxes, not me, on anything I sell to you. But anything I buy from the US, yeah, that's going to cost me. So I'm going to have to buy all my printing and all my supplies Canadian, so I can avoid custom fees and 25% tariff fees. You understand what I'm saying? So Trump, you did me a disservice, bud. I can't say anything good about you right now because you are fucking me up personally. You understand? So, I mean, that's the long and the short of it, guys. Who knows? I mean, I think a lot of small press publishers and creators themselves are going to ask, is monetarily, I mean, I know the passion is there, right? But monetarily, is this even worth it anymore? I'm not going to know the answer to that until my next Kickstarter. But that next Kickstarter is going to be in 2 weeks. So I hope to see you all there. We will be live right here on this channel, LIVE live in the flesh, to promote that. But in the meantime, let me promote something else to you. Take a look. And just who is today's sponsor? Well, it's me, Austin. It's been me all along. That's right. I am my own sponsor. We do our own business and we do it differently here. And one of the things I would like to show to you here today is our eBay page. If you're looking for those Nyobi variants you may have missed in the past, maybe you're missing out on a few back issues. Maybe you never read Savage Sin. Maybe you're a fan of Paul Green and you never got his cover the first time around, or a John Stinsman, or a Joel Souza, or a Randy Green, or a Justin Hunt, or a Greg Bo Watson, and the list goes on. Jamie Tyndall. Here it is, guys. Chris Enoch, R.B. White. It's all here. Trade paperbacks, single issue, Savage Sin, Nyobi Origins, Nyobi Outbreak, Nyobi Birthright. It's all here for you to catch up on. And while you're doing that, why not look good while you do it? Come to the Nyobi Spring Store. The links there will be in the chat. You guys can get something for the women, something for yourself, maybe a nice coffee mug, maybe a nice hoodie. How about an awesome, sweatshirt, poster, or wall flag? I'm going to be adding new stuff to this store as well. So come and get what's here. Come and get it while it's hot. Nyobi Teespring Store, Nyobi the eBay store, and stay tuned for more news coming soon. Peace.